Welcome to Not Starving Artist, the podcast. I'm your host, Brooke Benson, money coach and equity actor. I am your financial cheerleader, here to help you build your financial confidence and have power over your money. The best part, no budgeting or bi-weekly paychecks required. I went from being a broke BFA grad having weekly panic attacks about money to a financially confident, wealth-building actor and business owner. Money gets to feel fun, simple, and sexy, and I am going to show you how. Hey everyone, welcome to my brand new podcast series, Inside One-on-One Coaching, where I'm giving you an inside look on what a private money coaching call is actually like, and to show you how much can shift for you from just one single coaching session. These episodes are real one-on-one coaching calls. Some are with current and past clients, and some are people I've never coached before, and everyone has given permission for these calls to be shared with you here. A full one-on-one coaching package is 3 months long with weekly coaching sessions, unlimited text and voice messaging support with me, and access to the full video curriculum from my signature group coaching program, Cashed Up Creatives. One-on-one coaching is for creatives, business owners, and those of you whose brains just have a hard time following traditional money advice. You'll get personalized strategy and support to help you understand your numbers without a spreadsheet, fully fund your savings, invest your first $1,000, spend money guilt-free, and finally build a relationship with money that feels easy and supportive. The investment for this package is $4,000 or 3 monthly payments of $1,400. You can book a sales call with me to learn more about one-on-one coaching and what that would look like for you, and the link is in the show notes. Let's get to it. Hi, Sky.
Hello. Sorry I'm late. What's up?
No, you're good. It's so nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Yeah, so as we dive in today, I would love to, I read your intake form, but I'd love to know just a little bit about you. If you want to tell me who you are, what you do, what your vibe is.
Yes, okay. I am I guess my art practice is mostly as a dancer. I grew up dancing. After college, I fell into more movement therapy.
Okay.
Sort of at the base, I love dance so much. I feel so grateful to have been dancing and to have all this expression through that. And so to be able to host spaces to share that with others is a huge passion of mine. Um, whether it's teaching technique or history or choreographing, and then creating more maps and experiences for people to move through their expression, trauma, whatever they're working through via movement. That's a passion. And then I also love, on the flip side of that, the choreography and performance. And then I also love gardening. I care about food justice, and being able to plant and grow wherever you live. I live in a frickin' desert right now. So I've been learning a lot about how to garden here. So that's my vibe, and things I'm trying to grow is some sort of intersection of the plant and garden and dance and that sort of world.
Yeah, that's incredible. What incredible passions. That's awesome. So wait, so now tell me, because I know you said you work at a farmer's market. So is the farmer's market separate from all of that, or is that intertwined? Tell me more about that.
Girl, I do sales.
Love
And so I got really lucky when I moved back. I'm from Vegas, well, from Chicago, but I was raised in Vegas. I lived in LA for several years, kind of realized that was not my pocket.
Yeah.
Came back to Vegas, and I was just bopping around trying to find a job. And I walked into this cutie little storefront. They do natural and organic home and body products. It's super small business vibes. She does everything out of her little lab. There's 8 of us total that run the whole ship.
Wow.
And so we do sales. We used to have a storefront, and then there's a farmer's market almost every day somewhere in the valley in Vegas.
Wow.
And so all of the different vendors just pack up your stuff in a van and set up, unload, sell, and then run it back.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been doing for the last year and a half-ish. As of the last couple of months, I've been manager for the markets.
Okay.
Which financially has been helpful, because I get more commission. But I think I'm also in a place now of being okay, I'm grown with too many bills for a farmer's market to be my only job, because I don't have any sort of 401k or health benefits or things in that realm. And so that's where it gets tricky for me is figuring out how to balance my 17 side passions
Mhm.
and a 9 to 5 that will give me the things that I think I need.
Sure. So with that, I saw that that was one of the main things you wanted coaching on today. So tell me what you want coaching on today. Where do you want to start?
I want to start on, I think, like when I have big dreams and visions, on figuring out how to find like a job or income that actually aligns with that. And
Mhm.
like, I know your whole thing is like not making a strict budget, but how the fuck am I supposed to budget for these sorts of things?
Yeah.
So that's what I would love some insight on.
Cool. So let's start there. So let's start with how do you, with your current situation, have money to invest in these artistic, creative passion pursuits to then hopefully those start making you money as well, creating more surplus, right? And then you're creating the life of your dreams. So let's start at the start. So talk to me about your farmer's market income. Do you know what your baseline expenses are month to month to month? Do you know those numbers?
Not as clear as I should, to be
Okay.
honest.
Sure. What's your
Yeah.
current money management system? What does it look like?
I know, give or take, what I will need to pay.
Uh-huh.
I really just kind of check my banking app often.
Yeah, sure.
I'm like really good at paying off my credit card, so I just kind of throw everything on my credit card and then I peep back in to make sure I'm not going past what I'm comfortable with,
Yeah.
and then I go in and pay it. And that's oh, I use Ally. I don't know. Can I
Yeah,
shout
yeah,
out
you
banks?
can say that. We're just not sponsored. We just love Ally. I say it all the time.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, love Ally. So that is also huge. So I like go in and move a different amount of every paycheck. Like I know that sometimes people are like, use this percentage of da da da. Like it kind of depends how much I think I'm going to end up having on my credit card that month. But whatever I know I can pay off, I'll move into Ally. And then from Allies, I have like a bucket for everything.
Like in a savings account?
Yeah. So like in my Ally account where it has like the main, however much I've saved, then I have like my taxes and a car and my rent and a house one day. And like those are buckets.
Amazing. So first thing, you've already got like a system. We'll clean up the system a little bit, but one of the things we're going to add is getting clear on the things you want to invest in for financially in your creative pursuits, and let's create a bucket for them.
Yeah, literally, as you asked me how I think I'm saving for my big dreams, I was like, I don't even know if I am right now. I don't even think that's one of my buckets.
Yeah.
Like,
So actually, let's start there. So, big dreams, big visions, right? We know what your passions are, right? It was that, but I want you to succinctly articulate like what are the things that you want to be able to spend money on for these creative visions?
mm, mm-hmm.
You're there. Because that's the reason you haven't put money towards it yet. Because there's nothing as clear as here's my taxes, here's the things that I'm going to spend on in these buckets, right? It's not as clear as taxes yet.
Right. Sorry, I'm writing these things down.
Yeah, good. We
Uh,
love taking notes.
you want to invest in, right. Um, and I think that's like something that has always been so hard for me is when like these things are wants. Like they're needs of my creative vision, right? But like I need to be able to pay my taxes. I need to be able to pay rent. I need to pay my like car bill, right? But like it feels less of a need and more of this like superfluous thing of like, oh, wouldn't it be nice to garden one day? But like turning that into something that I need and letting that be a need, I think is so cool. Um, or letting it be okay that I do invest in the things that I want and not what I need, and that's all right too.
Yeah. And that'll come from getting really clear around your numbers so you know exactly how much you have, like surplus wise, to put towards these things, right? You can, instead of focusing on like, oh, 30% of this has to go to this, You can still base it on vibes, but instead of being like, oh, every month I never really know how much I'm going to save, so I have no idea what I'm going to be able to save next month, so I need to put it all towards emergency money, like not feeling safe to put it towards creative stuff, where when you understand your numbers, when you understand what your usual surplus is, right, and you have a system for it, the system creates safety that the system's going to repeat over and over and over. So if this month you don't put all of it towards emergencies or like the non-fun saving stuff, right? And you put some of it towards your artistic career, you also know that like next month the system repeats and I'm going to be able to put more in and I'm going to be able to put more in, right? It's getting comfortable in the system.
Love that.
So it makes sense why there isn't safety yet. Because even though you do have a system right now, everyone has a money management system, even if it doesn't feel like you have a system. Your system is I look at my bank account, and if that number doesn't feel safe in that moment, I'm going to transfer money over. Or like if it feels good, I'm going to, based on just vibes, how much I want to put into savings, right? It's like vibe-based money management without the actual system of the numbers. So we can still do vibes. You just need to add in the number system too.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, that really checks for me, a vibe-based money system.
Yeah.
So then how do you recommend number-wise? Like, okay, so I'm thinking about things I need to invest in, which would be courses, which would be, this is actually, I've been working my ass off this past month in the scheme of taking next month off to go learn on a farm.
Cool.
Like actually, have you heard of woofing?
Yeah.
Bro, so I'm trying to go woof.
Amazing.
I could not recommend this more. If like to any creatives that you're talking to, if they need time, if they are able to do this, figure out how to get 2 months of rent so that you can pay when you get back and you can pay while you're gone. And taking like time to go be on a farm, it's so special and it's a really cool place to like have spaciousness for a creative practice. There's a lot of like part-time remote jobs you can get too. So if you do need to like keep working while you're gone, that's what I'm going to be doing.
Awesome.
But there's a lot of spaciousness and it's free food and housing. Somewhere new for a month. Tell your people. But I'm happy to do that next month.
Cool. Okay. So continue what you were saying with like courses and things like that.
Courses, woofing.
Can you tell me, okay, so let's talk about courses for a second.
Yes.
So tell me the vision, right? Of like, what is the thing that you want to create here?
The thing that I want to create here is some sort of like Jacob's pillowy art farm.
Okay. So with that, Jacob's Pillowy Art Farm, love it. What is the course that's in your mind, or what is the gap of information or like support that you are trying to fill?
How and where to buy land for such a Jacob's Pillowy art farm to even exist, how to actually care for that land well. I know a lot of like smaller backyard farm garden practices, but as far as like growing enough food for an entire village to come through, don't know. How to invest in the right places to build the capital to even go about purchasing land. Yeah.
So all of these things, here's the homework I'm going to give you.
Please.
For the next 6 months, through the rest of 2024, through the end of the year, your job is to create as much movement, momentum, and progress towards this dream as possible, but you're not allowed to spend any money on it.
Whoa.
Because everything you just said to me, and why I'm giving you this homework is because A lot of times, money feels like something we can throw at a really scary dream that's going to move the needle for us without us doing the work that we actually really could do or want to do, but it feels like a lot and it's overwhelming. So, for example, with everything you just said, there's so much research that you can do on your own about how to buy land, how to care for land, researching a gardening mentor, a homesteading mentor, while you're woofing, like creating connections, a network of people who you could actually just learn from, network with, create relationships, like real relationships with, be in those spaces, right? And go learn. You can do that totally free. That just takes hours of research on your end. The other
Mm-hmm.
thing is, um, instead of jumping right towards how can I build my own capital, let's go research a bunch of grants. There is no way that there are not 18 companies who have a shit ton of money who would not want to throw it at a Jacob's Pillowy art farm. Are you kidding me? It's a brilliant idea. Right? You
Yeah.
could have so many people throwing money at you to buy this land, to till this land, whatever you need to do with it, right? So start with grants. Start with how can you make as much progress and momentum without spending a dime? Why I'm telling you this too is because at some point you will need to spend money on this business, right? Businesses create or need money to continue to move forward. But you doing this without spending money on it first is going to show you so clearly where your holes in knowledge are, where your holes in support are, and where your dollars are going to have the most impact, right? So you can actually create even more momentum by funneling money towards the three main things that you know you need support in, rather than like kind of throwing money at the general idea.
Mm.
What's coming up there for you?
You're fucking brilliant. That's so that's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think, yeah, you're exactly right in that it almost becomes an excuse and like, or something that I let get in the way that doesn't have to, instead of like, okay, how, like, can I put 4 hours over the weekend to like just YouTube my little heart away? It's like, oh, well, like, I can't learn anything yet because I can't pay for that course to do it.
Mhm.
But I totally could because YouTube is crazy. And
Yeah.
then also figuring out like the gaps in knowledge and support and then getting creative on how to fill those in is really exciting because there's just so much out there.
Yeah.
Also, thank you for the affirmation that people would want to give grant money to my Jacob's Pillowy art farm.
Absolutely, they will.
At some point, I also, it's cool, I think, to have both sides of the coin where it's like, okay, how much can I do without spending money first, knowing that any, like, then I can start to actually put money into buckets that, like, once I figure out what needs to be spent on more with more clarity, be like, oh, the last 6 months I've been on YouTube, I've been building this bucket out,
Yes.
bro.
Yes, right? And so two more things I want to say here too. Another
Yeah.
reason why this is a great place to start is because you don't want to accidentally create a relationship with your money where it's like your money is holding you back from your dreams, right? So it's like we're building up the bucket and putting money towards it, but also you're creating hella momentum while your money is being built up. So you don't accidentally create that weird resentment between like my money's holding me back from my artistic dreams. No, you can have
Mhm.
both. The second thing here is, oh, let me know when you're done writing.
Thank you. I feel like I'm scheming this crazy little like backwards plan that no one knows about so I can create all this momentum and then in 6 months be like, oh, I do have money, surprise. That's,
Literally, you're like, okay, I'm waiting for that grant to come through, but here's my down payment on the land.
imagine, that's so cool. Okay.
So, and also a part of this too is like living in the dream of what you're creating. So like every single day, whatever your manifestation or alignment exercise practice is for you, whatever that is, but like the example I'm going to use is like a visualization practice, right? Like visualizing yourself on this farm, right? While the builders are building whatever kind of structures you need and you're watching it happen, or you're sending out the first, email to everyone to be like, sign up for X, Y, and Z thing that we're offering. Like, I want you to be in that energy of it's already created and it's here.
Mhm.
Because that's what's going to help keep you in the energy of, I want to keep researching. I want to keep taking this action. I want to keep reaching out. Even if I hit roadblocks, even if I get rejections from grants, I'm going to keep going because I have that vision so clearly in my brain.
Mhm. What do you recommend when parts of the vision get like murky?
Tell me more.
Mm, I think there's a part of me that like I see this dream or this vision and I get really excited about it, and then it's like, how do I balance that with other dreams? Or like, I guess it's fear-based speaking at that point, where I start to see the vision. I'm like, oh, what if it doesn't work? What if no one gives a shit about it actually? Like,
Yeah.
what do you do to keep the momentum when the fear part of your brain is winning?
Sure. Okay, I hear you. So the first thing that I'd say, right? Like when you're visualizing this dream and you're picturing where it's going to end up, I actually want you to hold the ultimate end vision loosely, right? Loose grip. I want you to, every single time you're in your visualization or alignment practice with where that dream is taking you, I want you to vision a slightly different outcome every single time. So, like, you have this farm and you have this land and you have this Jacob's Pillowy art farm, but there's 18,000 ways that could actually look, end up, be utilized. I want you to play with, let that, whatever the most concrete part of this vision is, let that be the playground to experience a lot of different end results. So if owning land is the only concrete thing you can think of, great. Just start with the land. And then one time you imagine a compound, right? Where like workshops happen. Another one you imagine like no buildings whatsoever. We are camping and it's retreat style and it's like somatic retreat, right? Or like the next one, again, insert any other kind of vision, but you're going to allow yourself just to get excited about where you're going, knowing that most of the time what you're going to envision or visualize isn't the exact thing that's going to happen.
Right.
So it's just
Wow.
the North Star GPS general location that's going to keep pulling you forward. And that will help with the fear because the fear is, it's a lot easier for the fear to say like that exact thing. There's so many ways that could go wrong, right? Where if you have like a bunch of different options, you're like, okay, but if that goes wrong, then we still got all of these other ways it could go, right? Like, all right, fear, settle down.
So I feel like I just took the deepest breath of my entire life. There's something about, I think, the like perfectionist part of my brain that has seen like one vision, which I put in quotes because I don't even know if I've seen a specific vision with too much clarity, where it becomes so like, how am I going to do the right thing when there's 17 options that I have not been able to grasp tight enough to be the thing? And to just be like, nah, bitch, you're never going to grasp it tightly because the thing is never going to turn out the way you think it's going to, anyways. That permission, that thank you.
Yeah. And so on that note too, how old are you right now? Did you say 27, right?
27, yeah.
27. Okay. I want you to think about 22-year-old you 5 years ago.
Poor thing.
22-year-old you, right? Like pandemic has not even happened yet. You're 22 years old. I want you to think about what 22-year-old you would have decided for your life at 27, right? I want you to think like if she had mapped out everything to a T and decided what your life would look like at 27, is that something that you would enjoy and like to the fullest extent?
Honestly, yes, but I am living a very different life.
Okay, so interesting. So why I'm drawing that parallel is because 5 years ago, right, every single version of us thought that
Mhm.
we were going to live a very specific kind of life. And if that version of us had an iron grip and like didn't and refused to let things pivot or go a different way or whatever, it's like, yeah, I'm actually really glad that then 23-year-old me stepped in, 24-year-old me stepped in, 25-year-old me stepped in, right, and was able to kind of help pivot. So right now, as you're deciding that GPS location and as you're taking movement towards it, you're also holding it loosely because 28-year-old you might have inspired action or a gut instinct that we need to pivot hard left. Or 28-year-old you is like, oh, I'm actually excited about following this kind of bunny trail of breadcrumbs, and who knows where it's going to end up. And then 33-year-old you is like, oh my God, this is totally different than I could have ever even imagined. And it's like the best case scenario, but I couldn't have even thought it up at 27 years old. Thank God I just let myself follow breadcrumbs and didn't iron grip whatever I thought this was supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
So following breadcrumbs is your main focus, right? Rather than like trying to create the final vision, set that as the GPS location and then just take the next left turn, next right turn, follow the breadcrumbs, see what happens.
Mm. So this feels like two very different practices, and I don't think they actually are, but I think you'll probably have words to make it connect better. Of like, okay, I have the vision, hold it loosely so that I can like follow breadcrumbs to get to this loose. But like, if I'm following a breadcrumb and the breadcrumb is like, it's not an art farm, the fuck at all.
Mm-hmm.
What do I do with the like 6 months of momentum I just built in my bucket for an art farm when breadcrumb is like, nah, fuck it. Actually, like, it's none of that.
Sure. So, okay, so if then your breadcrumb is like, fuck it, it's none of that, amazing. You have a nest egg for whatever the thing is that's being pulling you towards it, right? Like, okay, you just pivot. Also, all the momentum you've been creating in that vein, it's if it's a hard left, great. All of that momentum just showed you that you will never second guess choosing a different path because you put all of your energy into that path and it was a no. But most likely, all of that momentum will be building up in ways you couldn't have imagined that it would translate into this new path, right? Or things you learned, people you met, whatever. Momentum is momentum.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you hit a wall, great. So you've just like created some really cool things in the process and you now have money to do something else with. Like there's nothing wrong with that. That's not a bad problem to have.
And how do you, I guess, like both in your gut, but financially trust that pivot?
Hmm. It's a great question. So to trust the pivot, right? How do I trust the pivot? What is the fear telling you? This is a journal prompt, right? So this is your homework. I want you to journal on what am I afraid is going to happen if my gut is wrong?
Mm,
So like how do I trust it is really just a fear of like if I trust my gut and I'm wrong, one, what does that even mean? Tactically, what does that look like? And then what would happen? And put yourself in worst case scenario and then what would you do? Right? You're in worst case scenario of the what if and then what
mm.
would you do? Most likely what you're going to find is that your brain has no real substance, no leg to stand on with this fear. Or if it does, you're like, great, I've created the fire drill of how I'd even get out or rebuild or whatever it is. So that's your homework. Go play with that.
Cool.
Sky, you have so much fun stuff to play with this week and the next 6 months.
Thank you so much for all of this. Holy hell. Yeah, you're amazing. I really appreciate your time.
Of course. I'm so glad I got to coach you today, and I'm really excited about your vision, and I can't wait to see it actually come into physical reality very soon.
Bro.
Thanks so much for tuning in. Come join me on Instagram for more on how to build a simple, sexy relationship with your money. My Instagram handle is @NotStarvingArtists. And if you want to dive deeper with me, head to the show notes to learn more about one-on-one coaching. If you love this episode, subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a friend that you want to get rich with.